Hello and welcome to another episode of Thighs, Fries and Gay Guys, and today we're doing something a bit different. I'm answering your questions. Yes, I put a story out on my Instagram and Facebook stories. I was like, either you ask me a question or I'm going to keep singing, and I put on a clip of me singing Stop by the Spice Girls. Maybe I should put a clip of that in here. But also, I'm wearing something a bit different, so I'm going to step away and show for the camera because you can watch this podcast too. It's a little bit jazzy, isn't it? It's an early Christmas present from my mama. Yes, it's from Yuck and Yak. No, I'm not sponsored. Yuck and Yak. Went a bit brummy then, didn't I? Anyway, I love it. Get into it. Welcome to Thighs, Fries and Gay Guys, where we talk fitness, feelings, fries and everything in between. From my own fat loss journey to the angst of my teenage diaries, you'll get real talk and lots of sass. So, grab some fries, put on your short shorts, show off those thick thighs, and let's get into it. Back to what I was talking about. Yes, questions. And I don't know if I've held it up to the camera, but just to prove that I haven't made them up, I'm showing the screen grab of all the questions I have got. First question, let's get into it, team. How did you get so handsome? I don't feel like that's a question, it's just a fact. Thank you. But as I say, not really a question, but I am flattered. Will you sing No One Mourns the Wicked? No, bitch, because you ain't dead. Wow, she's bitchy. She's on one today. Meow. Anyway, it was an actual serious question about what I do. Yes, I'm a coach to gay, trans, bi men all around the world, helping them to achieve a body they feel confident and fabulous in. So, great question. How do you manage self-limiting beliefs that your clients have without pushing them too much? Great question. Literally been talking about that this week because self-limiting beliefs are more about identity. What do you mean, Matt? Well, if we believe something about ourselves, say, for example, I've spoken about it before, I used to hate walking because it used to genuinely hurt, used to make me cry, etc. Let's not go into it. Go listen to episode 1. Therefore, I'm not going to walk because I believe about myself I'm someone who hates walking. And I've been having this kind of conversation with a few clients recently because people are, I'm so lazy because they miss something, say, in their week. But the more they keep saying, I'm lazy, the harder it's going to be to take action because, again, we always try and take actions that align with the identity, who we believe we are. And it's really challenging because even in my own journey, when I reflect on it, it's almost like you're playing catch up with your identity, with the actions you're taking. So rather than necessarily telling people their beliefs are wrong, because that's not really going to help. No one likes being told they're wrong. I hate being told I'm wrong or criticized. And please don't write in and do that. I try and encourage them to take the actions first and foremost, because if you take actions that align with the person you want to be or need to be to get your goals, so say you want to lose some fat, well, what does someone who's lost fat do that you're not doing? What kind of identity, what do they believe about themselves? What are they doing daily? And if we try and encourage ourselves to take those actions, our identity shifts because we've got this evidence that, wait, I'm doing this. I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, because I'm not the person I was, 10 years ago. We change, we evolve, and it's important to remember that we can evolve, we can change. My final point on this really is that I try and get my clients to notice when they're saying these old identity beliefs to themselves, like when they're going, I'm lazy, I hate exercise. It's like, well, if you truly hated exercise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have shown up every week for the last month. Yes, exercise might be hard, but do you actually hate it? And also, when I'm talking about this with clients, I'm like, imagine you've got a friend and you're like, we're going out today. you are going to hate it. We're going to do this. They're not going to want to do it. It's going to be really difficult to get them to take that action. And you're doing exactly the same thing. Some might call it self sabotage. Yeah, it is kind of a form of this, but I know they're all buzzwords, self limiting beliefs, XYZ. But I think the truth fundamentally comes down to the fact that your operating system has not updated to this new person you are becoming. And there's a sadness in that. There is a loss. You are changing. And sometimes that means we also have to change the people around us. I said I had one more point, didn't I? I'm going off on another one. But it's really important to have people around you who support and cheerlead you and encourage you to grow and change, because there will be some people in your life who don't want you to change, and they're not doing it out of malice. Say you are the party animal of the group who gets super messy on the night out. People are used to you drinking too much and doing crazy, zany stuff. And then you want to start drinking less. Well, your identity in that social group is no, you're the drunk, messy girl. What do you mean you're changing roles? I remember listening to something about soap operas. People enjoy them because they're predictable. The bad boy will always be a bad boy. Even if they have a short phase of being good, they will eventually revert back to who their character is. That's why people like soap operas. They're predictable, they're consistent. Has that answered the question? How do I manage people's self-limiting beliefs without pushing them too much? I think something that's been most powerful in my journey is focusing on the everyday. So if I can encourage and support someone in making those little daily changes and showing up for themselves with the identity maybe or the habits they need to have and routines to become the person they want to be, then that's how I do it. I think action first, because once I can maybe show the client, yeah, but you've been doing all these things, you're not that person anymore. I think they become a bit more aware of no, I have changed. I'm achieving great things. I am able to do the things that I'm required to do to get the goals I have. And also, finally, something's better than nothing. So because of that, because I think people struggle to make change because they set the bar so high. I'm like, no, wait. A workout is a workout. It might not have been your best workout, but it's still a workout. And one workout's better than no workout. 5-minute walk's better than no minute walk. So yeah, I think I'm gonna full stop. 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 One of my clients was like, oh, have you listened to podcasts? I went, yeah, put me to sleep. So if this is helping you sleep, hey, I'm doing the Lord's work. Next question. Who is your favourite Spice Girl? Great question. Because on my feedback form with my clients, they can ask for the feedback in spice levels, but not like Nando's. Oh no. Which Spice Girl do you want to answer, from baby spice to scary spice? How spicy can I be? So that's a little insight into my world. But Jerry Halliwell, I was obsessed with Jerry Halliwell. I think with like a lot of gay men were in the 90s, to the point where I read her autobiography, and I can vividly remember being in science class and I'd finished my work. The teacher was like, do your homework then if you finish the task. I was like, I've done all my homework. She's like, well, read then. And then out I got my Jerry Halliwell autobiography. And in the middle of this book, there were like photos of her life, but she did a bit of glamour modeling. So you got to see quite a lot of Jerry Halliwell. And then there was like a bad boy nearby who then took the book and then passed it around the class. But Jerry Halliwell, luckily by 39, had already come out. So my mom didn't get the wrong idea and think that I love Jerry Halliwell, like lusted after. She's just a gay icon. Next question is a two-parter. How did you make the switch from calorie counting to not calorie counting? Or have you ever calorie counted? And then the second part is how/why did I change my mindset on calorie counting if I switched? There's a lot of ifs in that. So first part, I'm really hot now, team. I've got to take my top off. Ooh. Didn't know you were getting a strip tease, did you, today? Oh. Okay, I just flashed the audience. If you want to see that, go to YouTube. Oh. That's better, team. 2 seconds. Having a hot flush. Really weird how the Americans call it hot flashes. Hot flashes. Sounds a bit Australian. Hot flash. Um, Calorie counting. I'm going to go through this question because there's lots of questions within the question. Part one. Have I ever counted calories? Yes, I have. For a short period, I think it was about 2018. I was single. I was training a lot. I was like, do you know what? Let's see what I can do with my body composition. Can I get a bit leaner? Because I thought, even me within the industry, I need to be an advert for my business. I need to be lean. I need to be toned. I need to be shredded. I never quite got there. I can bring the receipts if you want. But yes, I have done it for a short while, but I've never done it long term. I see calorie counting as an audit tool, and I will call it a calorie audit if I ever do it with a client. It's a bit like, to me, you look at your bank account and over the last few months, you're like, I've got no money left. I'm in the red each month. Where the hell am I spending my money? And then you go and you look at your spending. You do a bit of an audit. You look at your subscriptions. What's regularly coming out of your bank account that maybe you can stop spending money on because you've got none left? What's happened? So it gives you some awareness as to where you are spending your energy if you do like a calorie audit. Because I think sometimes people aren't aware of how energy dense some of the things they do are. We did an exercise in my coaching call a few weeks ago where I was like, okay, this is my weekend. I want to go to Five Guys and I want to go to Starbucks. And I showed them a typical, what I would usually order. And it's very easy for you to have over a day's worth of calories at Five Guys. And I love Five Guys. And I'm talking about the restaurant chain before anyone tries to shame me in the comments. We're not talking about those kind of escapades today. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Wait, there you are. I sang on the podcast. You're welcome. What I was talking about? Five Guys. A milkshake alone. The milkshake I have, the combination I have, I'm very sad they took off malted milk. RIP. It's 1,000 calories in itself. So I could very easily have 2.5 calories at Five Guys and it's over in a second. And if I'm trying to eat in a deficit, that can skew the figures across the week. That can skew my energy balance. It can mean that I am no longer in a deficit. Now, let me pause for a minute and talk about energy balance. Sorry if you know this. I'm going to go through it super simple, super quick. Let's talk about energy balance and why we talk about calorie deficits. Because sometimes, like, my dad was like, what is a calorie deficit? So when the energy in, the calories in, equal the energy out, the energy we use, you're at maintenance. Nothing's changing because everything's on an even keel. When we are eating or more calories, we are putting more energy in than we're using. We have more calories than we need. And our body is like, we're going to save this for a rainy day. So that excess energy is stored in your body fat, mostly. That's how we put on body fat. Calorie deficit is when the energy in is less than the energy out. So we are eating fewer calories than we need to go about our daily life. Therefore, what happens in the body is like, there's a shortfall of energy here. We better use our stored energy. Therefore, it uses that stored fat to make up the deficit of energy. And that's how you lose fat, because your body's using that stored energy to make up the shortfall. So whilst we believe we may be in a calorie deficit, if nothing is shifting and we've tried all the different things we can to try and put ourselves in a deficit, it might be a great way to get some awareness and see what is truly happening. So yes, I have done it for a very short while. Great for awareness, not a long-term solution as far as I'm aware. So why did I stop? And how did I achieve my results if I didn't calorie count? Well, I stopped because it was time consuming, a ball ache, and I think we can all make changes that are a lot easier than scanning everything that goes into our mouth. Ooh, cheeky. What I believe is more important is planning and organization, getting ready for the week ahead. Lots of us have incredibly busy lives. I don't know about you lot, but post-COVID, I don't know how I did half of what I did before. Life just seems busier. So I personally have found the biggest impact I can make on my eating is planning and prepping my week in advance. Because that way I don't have to rely on my emotions, my energy, my willpower in the week when I'm already busy and stressed. I don't have to rely on those things to drive my behavior. Whereas for me, I find if the foods I want to eat are as convenient and easy as possible to access in the fridge, in my food environment, in my bag, whatever I'm carrying with me, if I'm making foods that align with the goal I have as easy as possible to eat, then guess what? I'm more likely to eat it. We truly are creatures of convenience. So, what you have to do, and this is something I teach all the time in my coaching world, is engineer your environment. Make it almost more difficult for you not to eat the foods which align with your goal, almost making it harder for you not to achieve fat loss, to make it harder not to eat enough protein to build muscle. Therefore, all these things that come into life, last minute meetings, that's the only thing I could think of. That's not good, is it? Just a really stressful, crappy day. They're not going to knock me off course because do you know what? I've got a meal which is there, that's going to hit my goals, that's going to taste good, that's going to hit the spot. Not every meal is cordon bleu. It's not a Michelin star restaurant here. No, I will often eat the same thing a few days in a row. I will try and vary the nutritional quality by changing the vegetables, by changing the fruit I'm having, things like that. In the everyday gay, we have a 3-step process to getting someone starting to meal prep. The first thing is we have to prepare our environment. If your kitchen is chaos, if you've got things in the freezer that have been in there for over a year, do you know what? You're probably not going to eat it now. Now, I'm not encouraging food waste, but also after that time, it's probably not safe to eat. We need to make sure our kitchen is ready for us to start meal prepping. So the first thing is, let's just get a bit more organization in the kitchen. Let's make sure we've got somewhere to put our meal prep when we've made it. Make sure we've got some way of storing our food. Let's make sure we've got a Sharpie to label. It's almost those little details that make things go way more smoothly. Help you to know what the hell is in the fridge because, if it's a stew, it's like, I don't know what this is. Can you tell me, please? It's a bit like Rate My Plate with Gordon Ramsay. But yeah, firstly, prep your environment for meal prep. Secondly, you need to get into a routine with planning. And the planning phase starts with, okay, I've got some recipes that align with my goal. Awesome. When am I going to have them? When am I going to cook them? How am I going to store them? Next, okay, I've got to get the food into my house. Then you've got to plan in your weekly food shop. And then you've got to plan in when you're going to prep. Are you going to fully prep? So you're going to make everything so you don't have to cook in the week. Are you going to partially prep? So that might be you chopping up the ingredients and putting them into a Ziploc bag or a container. Like I am literally going to do some meal prep very soon. I have chopped everything. So all I've basically got to do is assemble, cook and assemble, and that's it. Another key part of what's helped me to achieve my goals and what I think helps my clients to achieve goals without calorie counting is my plate method. Visually, I'm a very visual person. I can see, okay, a third of my plate is protein. Awesome. Can I get at least half my plate piled with vegetables, with salad to help nourish my body, to help fill me up? Because sometimes when we are calorie counting and solely focusing on numbers, we're not looking at, oh, am I actually still hungry at the end of this meal? Then having to spend the rest of the day trying not to eat more food because I'm like, well, I've hit my numbers. We have hunger signals that I think we lose touch with, we lose trust with after years of dieting. Do you know what? Let's get in touch with that again. Let's understand hunger and start to trust ourselves. Because what I think about things like calorie counting, dieting is sometimes it takes us away from actually, but am I hungry? Last episode it was, but did you die? This time it's, but am I hungry? I want to make sure the meal I am eating satisfies me on an emotional level somewhat, but also that it's going to keep me full for as long as possible. It's going to keep me going. I mean, I do want to caveat this and go, do you know what? I don't come away from my breakfast every day and be like, oh my God, that was the best meal of my life. No, but a bit like I was talking about with fitness, you have to enjoy the journey. You know, there's no point eating foods you do not enjoy just because someone on Instagram has told you it's really good for you. And part of the journey, I think, to my own fat loss has been finding foods which I enjoy, that align with my goal, that I don't mind eating time and time again. Personally, I don't see calorie counting as a long-term solution. And remember, everything, well, you might not know, everything in my world is based on the SAS principle, which is simple, achievable, sustainable success. And as I've said, I do not think that calorie counting is a long-term solution. Audit tool, fine, but actually you could probably make more progress by being a bit more organized, a bit more prepared for your meals, making sure there is some protein, some fruit and vegetable on your meal, rather than getting to the end of the day, looking at your MyFitnessPal and being like, oh, I didn't have enough vegetables today. Oh, I didn't have much protein. Well, you can't then double your protein the next day. Whereas if you are intentional, going in advance and making sure you have engineered everything around you for success, making the food you want to eat as easy as possible, then I think you're onto a winner. If you're sat here listening and thinking, Matt, I have no idea where to start, reach out. I've got resources that can help you. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Fitness with Matt. If you go onto Instagram, just add a 1 to the end. It's Fitness with Matt 1. Or you can email me, mattprintpt@gmail.com. I forgot my email for a moment. Our final question. Sing on the podcast again. It's not request hour at the boy bar. That's not what we're doing here. I'm going to leave it there. If you do have any questions or things you would like me to answer on this pod, send them over. I am more than happy to answer your questions. I am here to help you. I am here to help you achieve your goals and feel amazing by the beach. Help you to feel confident walking into a restaurant, into a bar, being able to go into your favorite clothes shop and just get something off the rack and it just fit nicely. And you just feel, hey, she got it. I want you to stand taller. I want you to feel prouder. I don't want you to constantly be in your head about how you look. I want you to be experiencing the world. I want you to be living your best life as your true self. Because take it from someone who used to hide away, who used to not be able to, for someone who has always second guessed himself for the majority of his life, but has finally found some freedom and confidence through taking care of myself, showing up for myself consistently. It honestly is life-changing. Oh, that got a bit serious, didn't it? It's almost like, I don't know. Call me Mopra. Oprah with an M. Mopra. Mopra? Mopra. Anyway, I'm shutting up. I'm going. Have an awesome day. Don't forget, share this podcast with anyone you think may benefit from it, might enjoy listening to my dulcet tones. Maybe they need a new voice to help them sleep at night. I don't care. Just share it with them. Write me a review. Give me a rating. Let me know your thoughts. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple. And you can also find me on YouTube. Thighs, fries, and gay guys. Au revoir. Goodbye.